Hello students, welcome back to your English class. Today we are going to take a new chapter in Chateau d'If. Page number 109. This story is set in France in the 19th century. It is the story of Edmond Dantes, a young sailor who is falsely accused of treason and imprisoned in a dungeon. While in prison, the young man almost loses all hope when suddenly okay, here this is a story of a prison which is located in France in an island, and its name is Chateau d'If. Okay, about 9 o'clock in the evening, Edmond de Dantes heard a hollow sound from the wall against he was lying. Okay, this story is about Edmond de Dantes. He was a young sailor and he was falsely accused, means he was blamed or found guilty for doing something wrong. Of treason means being disloyal to your country, and he was imprisoned in a dungeon. Dungeon means it is a underground prison. Okay, and during that time, while in prison, he has lost all his hope. And let us see what was the thing, what happened in the story. Okay, at 9 o'clock in the evening, what he heard a hollow sound from the wall against where he was lying. Dantes raised his head and listened. It was a constant scratching, as if made by a huge claw or some iron instrument attacking the stones. It lasted nearly 3 hours. Some hours afterwards it began again, nearer and more distinct. There can be no doubt about it, thought Dantes. It is some prisoner who is trying to escape. Oh, if I were only able to help him! He began by moving his bed and looked around for anything with which he could pierce the wall. He saw nothing. He had no knife or sharp instrument. There was only a water jug. Okay, what he had heard? He heard a hollow sound from the opposite wall. Okay, then when he listened to that, he understand something was there was a scratching sound which was made by a huge iron instrument or a huge claw. Okay, then he concluded that the other prisoner is trying to escape, and the sound lasted for nearly 3 hours. Okay, and after 3 hours, the sound is becoming closer and closer, and he concluded that the other prisoner is trying to escape, and he is looking for some pieces of sharp instruments and stone, but there was nothing, or a knife or a sharp instrument, nothing was there in his room. Only a water jug was only there in his room on top of the table. So he broke the water jug and with one of the sharp fragments attacked the wall. In 3 days, Dantes had managed to remove the cement and expose the stonework. The wall was built of rough stones. Dantes had to remove one of these from its place. He tried to do this with his nails, but they were too weak. The fragments of the jug broke, and after an hour of useless toil, he paused. In spite of the pain and the weakness, he was not ready to stop. Now, what he did, he had broke the water jug, and with some of one of the sharp fragment, he started scratching on the wall. And in 3 days, he was able to remove the cement and expose the stonework. He was able to see the stonework after removing the cement. Only after 3 days, he was able to see that. And in spite, he was very tired. He was very having very pain, but he was not ready to stop. He was not able to scratch it with that fragment of sharp fragment of glass jug, because the wall was built of rough stones. So he tried with his nails, but he was very weak, so he was not able to do that. Then an idea occurred to him. The jailer always brought his soup with him in an iron saucepan. The handle of the saucepan was of iron too. He could use the handle of the saucepan as a lever. At the end of an hour, the stone was removed from the wall, leaving a cavity a foot and a half in diameter. He carefully collected the plaster, carried it into the corner of a cell, and covered it with earth. Now, what he did, he an idea came to his mind. What was that? And the jailer always brought the soup in what? In an iron saucepan. So the handle of the iron saucepan was also iron. So he was thinking that he can do, or he can use this handle of the saucepan as lever, means a straight metal rod which can be used to lift or move another larger object. Okay. And at the end of an hour, the stone was removed from the wall, leaving a cavity, means what, an opening or a hollow space. And there was a width of half diameter wood was there, and he carefully collected the plaster. Here, plaster means a mixture of sand and cement used to cover the bricks in a wall of a building. He carried it to the corner of a cell and covered it with earth. All day he toiled. That evening he met with an obstacle. It was a beam. This beam went across the hole Dandas had made and blocked it. So he would have to dig above or under it. He had not thought of this. Now, when he was trying to scratch, was trying to make a hole, there was an obstacle. You know what is obstacle? A block, something that blocks or stands in your way. Okay, there was a block. What is that? It was a beam. Beam means a long and heavy piece of wood or steel used in building construction. Okay, there was a beam there. It went across the hole that he had made, and thus it blocked it. So what he had to do? He had to dig above or under that beam, and he had never thought of it. Oh my God, he murmured, have pity on me, and do not let me die in despair. Who talks of God and despair at the same time? Said a voice that seemed so come from the wall. Tander's hair stood on head. Now here's murmuring, here's blaming. That have pity on me means sympathy. You know what is despair? A condition without any hope. Now he's murmuring that, or he's blaming that, please have pity on me. And he was he was praying to the God, what, to show some sympathy on him and to not put him in trouble. Okay, and there was a voice came from the wall. Who talks of God and despair at the same time? And he was shocked. Oh, said he, a human voice? Dandus had not heard anyone speak except his jailer for 4 or 5 years. He cried, speak again, though the sound of your voice terrifies me. Who are you? Who are you? Asked the voice. An unhappy prisoner, replied Dandus with no hesitation. A Frenchman, Edmond Dandus, is my name. I am a sailor by profession. How long have you been here? Since the 28th of February 1815. Your crime? I am innocent. They say that I made plans to aid the Emperor's return. What? The Emperor is no longer on the throne. Then he was exiled to the island of Elba in 1814. How long have you been here that you do not know all this? Since 1811. Now he's asking the other one on the next side, or the other side, the person on the other side is asking about him, the details of him, and how he have reached here and how long he have been here, and he tells the reason and how long he have been there. Dandus shuddered. This man had been in prison for 4 years longer than himself. Don't dig any more, said the voice. Only tell me how high up your excavation is. On a level with the floor behind my bed. What does your chamber open on? A corridor. Alas, murmured the voice. I have made a mistake in my plans. I took a wrong angle and have come out 15 feet from where I intended. I mistook the wall you are mining for the outer wall of the fortress. I hoped to reach the sea and I would have swum to one of the islands near here, and then I should have been safe. Now all is lost. Stop your excavation, do not work anymore, and wait until you hear from me. Now he is asking the details of the excavation or the hole made by him. And when he said that, the other ones tells that he had made a mistake, and he warned or he told the prisoner Edward Danders that to stop digging until he says. This morning Danders heard 3 knocks and he threw himself on his knees. The jailer has gone, said Danders. We have up to 12 hours before he returns. In a moment, a part of the floor suddenly gave away. Then, from the bottom of this passage, he saw appear first the head, then the shoulders, and lastly the body of a man, who sprang lightly into the cell, and there in front of him stood an old man with a flowing white beard. Ferrier and Dandas became friends and make plans on how to escape from the prison. They come up with a very clever plan, but one of them has to sacrifice his life to save the other. Does Edmond Dandas get out of the Chateau d'If prison in the end? Read The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas to find out what happens next. And the next morning, after the jailer has left, they have met. Right? Okay, and this is a part of the story. The Count of Monte Cristo. Okay, here it doesn't finishes. The story never ends. So if you want to know the rest of the story, you have to refer or you have to read the story of Alexander Dumas, The Count of Monte Cristo. And one of them has saved, and one of them has sacrificed the life to save the other. Okay, the story is adapted and simplified from The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. Take page number 114. There was only a water jug on top of the table. In spite of the pain and weakness, he was not ready to stop. The words in color are prepositions. You know what is prepositions, right? Words in color are prepositions. They are 2 or 3 words that function like a single word. These are called complex prepositions. You know what is preposition, right? Prepositions are words or group of words used before noun, pronoun, or noun phrase to show the direction, time, or place, or the spatial relationship, right? So here, these words are there are 2 or 3 words that functions like a single word. Here, on top of, and in spite of, these 2 words group of words function as a single word, right? And these are called complex prepositions. We have already learned that prepositions help us talk about the position and location of people and things. Sometimes they show direction or movement. Such words are symbol prepositions. Rajiv's house is behind the market. Here, this is a single word. The Ganges flows through the plains. Okay, here 2 or 3 words that function like a single word is complex preposition, and these single words are symbol prepositions. Sometimes when we speak, we use the wrong complex prepositions in our sentences. We have been working since 2 hours. It is not right. We have been working for 2 hours is right. Okay. Sometimes when we speak, we often use a complex preposition when it is not required. The teacher entered into the room. It is not right. The teacher entered the room. It is the right answer. Now circle the correct complex prepositions to complete these sentences. Okay, there are three options given below each sentences. You have to choose the correct complex prepositions to complete the sentences. Okay. Now take page number 115. Complete these sentences with the correct phrases from the box. Here there are some phrases given in the bracket, sorry, in the box, and you have to choose this correct phrases to be written in the blanks to complete these sentences. Okay. Take page number 116, writing section. Complete this conversation that Dandis and Faria had when they met for the first time. Write it in your notebook. You can mention how Dandis felt about being in prison, the hope Dandis felt when he heard noises behind the wall, how Maria Faria miscalculated the path of the tunnel, how Faria planned to escape, and how he had kept his tunneling a secret from the god, what he planned to do after he escaped from the prison. You can include those things in their conversation, and you have to write a conversation like this. You can begin the conversation like this, and you have to complete it and use the clues given in the box here, and you have to complete and write it in your notebook and send it to me through WhatsApp. Okay, now we are going to take the new chapter, saving the turtle, chapter number 12, page number 118, saving the turtle. One morning, while on a vacation, the narrator of the story notices a crowd gathering around a narrow canoe type fisherman's boat that had pulled up on the sand. He decides to go and investigate. On a morning vacation, it was a vacation, and on a morning, he saw the narrator of the story. He saw a crowd was gathering around a narrow canoe type fisherman's boat. You know what is a canoe type fisherman's boat? You can see it in the picture here. A long narrow boat pointed at both ends. Okay, and he went to know what happened there. I put my book aside and hurried down to the beach. Everyone was staring at the turtle lying upside down on its back in the sand. It was a giant turtle, perhaps 5 feet long and 4 feet across, with a shell of great beauty. The fisherman who had caught it had tipped it onto its back to stop it from getting away. The magnificent creature's four thick flippers waved crazily in the air, and its long, wrinkled neck stretched far out of its shell. The flippers had large, sharp claws at them. "Stand back, ladies and gentlemen, please," cried the fisherman. "Those claws are dangerous." Now, what was that? They had caught a big turtle. There was a big turtle that was caught by the fisherman, and it was lying upside down. They had they had put it upside down for stopping it from crawling away. Now, it was having sharp claws on its flippers. Flippers means the limbs of large sea animals such as whales, turtles, seals, which are used for swimming. And it was having sharp claws on them. So the fishermen are asking the people around them or the crowd to get away from there because the claws are very dangerous. Crowd of hotel guests was thrilled by this spectacle. A dozen cameras were out and clicking away, taking pictures of the wonderful creatures. A lot of guests were there in the hotel nearby, and they were thrilled, means very excited to see the by the spectacle means the unusual sight. A lot of cameras were there taking pictures of this turtle.
A fat man came up to the fisherman and said, "Hey, listen, I want that shell. Can I buy it from you? How much will it cost?" Now a fat man came to the fisherman and he was telling that he wants that shell and will you sell them to him? And he was asking about the rate of the shell. "No, you can buy it. Turtle has already been sold," the fisherman said. "To whom?" asked the man. "To the manager of the hotel," replied the fisherman. "You know what that means, right?" shouted another man. "It means special turtle soup. The manager can have the meat," the fat man said to the fisherman. "All I want is the shell." I stood there listening to the conversation. They were all discussing the destruction and the consumption of a harmless and helpless creature. The turtle was alarmed by all the noise and the shouting around it. "How are you going to get the turtle up into the hotel?" the fat man asked. "Drag it up the beach with a rope," the fisherman answered. Now he is asking that he want that shell, and he was asking them to sell that. But the fisherman told that it was already sold out to the hotel manager. And somebody tells that it means they are going to make special turtle soup in the hotel. Okay, now the fat man is asking how they are going to take that turtle to the hotel, and he will tell that the fisherman tells that they will tie a rope to him and pull to the hotel. The fisherman gathered a few of his friends, and as the man heaved, the gigantic turtle began to slowly slide up the beach towards the hotel. Suddenly I heard screams. The crowd formed. The tug of war stopped, and the onlookers stopped shouting, half walking, half running down the beach from the hotel. I saw a man, a woman, and a small boy who was no more than 8 or 9 years old. Okay, now the fisherman called his friends, and the men heaved. Heaved means lifted, pushed, and pulled something heavy with great effort. They heaved the gigantic turtle and they are taking it to the beach hotel, and they saw they had a scream. They heard a scream, and what was there? A family was coming running. A man, a woman, and a small boy was there coming, running and half walking to the beach from the hotel. And the boy was no more than 8 or 9 years old. "No, let it go," shouted the small boy. "Go away, kid," said one of the fishermen. "All of you are horrible and cruel," said the boy. "Why don't you put the turtle back in the sea? He hasn't done anything to you. Please have some sympathy for it." Now, what the child is telling, it is telling the people, the fishermen, to leave that turtle and put it back to the sea. They are trying to sell it and trying to hurt it. But the small boy, just 8 or 9 years old, is having sympathy on that turtle, and he is asking to show some sympathy on that creature. The crowd of people began to shuffle their feet around it in the sand, feeling a bit uneasy and even a bit ashamed. Meanwhile, the boy freed himself from his father's grip and ran across the sand towards the turtle. Shuffle means walk slowly while dragging the feet. Okay, now the crowd has felt a bit ashamed when they heard the voice of the boy, and they started going from there. And the boy left his father's grip and he ran across the turtle towards the turtle. The turtle saw him and turned its huge head quickly to face the little boy. The moment later, the boy was on his knees in the sand, hugging the creature to its chest, whispering soft words that nobody else could hear. "Father," the boy cried out, "please make them let it go." "Can I be of any help here?" said a man in a white suit who had just come down from the hotel. He was Mr. Edwards, the manager. Who owns the turtle? Asked the boy's father. We do, the manager said. The hotel has bought it. Let me buy it from you, said the father to the fisherman. There will be a bonus if you let it go at once. But before you get more money, your money, all of you must promise that you won't go out and try to catch it again. Is that a deal? Yes, we have a deal, said the fisherman. Meanwhile, the boy crept up to one side of the turtle very cautiously. Then he began untying the knot in the rope. The other fisherman placed poles underneath the shell of the turtle and began to rock the creature from side to side with great skill till the turtle was on its side. Then, with a loud thump, the turtle crashed down on the sand the right way up. The huge brown head came out and peered around. Go back to the sea, the boy called out. The two hooded black eyes of the turtle peered up at the boy. Eyes were bright and lively, full of wisdom. Goodbye, old human, said the boy. Go for away this time. The great magnificent beast turned away slowly and began waddling towards the edge of the ocean. When it entered the water, it swam very fast and gracefully with its head held high. It was several minutes before we lost sight of it, and by then it was halfway to the horizon. And what he did, the boy came and hugged the turtle, and he said something in its ear. He whispered something to the turtle that anybody could hear, and but nobody was able to hear what he said to the turtle. And father, he cried out, please make them let it go. And he is requesting his father to let the turtle go there from there. Now he's asking, the manager was also there. He came from the hotel and his name was Mr. Edwards. And the father of the boy asked him that he will ask the fisherman that he will buy the turtle and he want to let it free. And the turtle went back to the sea. They had removed all the ropes from its body, and the turtle has went back to the sea. Okay, this is an extract from the wonderful story of Henry Sugar and Six More by Roald Dahl. We now take page number 123. Read these conversations. Listen, I want that shell. But, sorry, can I buy it from you? How much will it cost? No, you can't. The turtle has already been sold, the fisherman said. Do you promise not to hurt the turtle? Yes, we promise, said the fisherman. When we respond to a question, we do not always say just yes or no. Often it is impolite to say yes or no and nothing else. We often answer with pronouns and so on, plus auxiliary verb and so on, right? Pronouns means I, you, he, she, it, and so on. Auxiliary verbs means to be, can, have. Okay, whenever we are responding to a question, we just don't say yes and no or no always. But what else we say? We answer the questions with pronouns and auxiliary verbs. Are you ready, Ed? Yes, I am. Have you finished your homework? No, I haven't. Okay, here we are using the pronoun and the auxiliary verb. We usually use contracted forms of negative short answers: won't, can't, haven't, wouldn't, and so on. We do not use contracted forms of positive short answers. Yes, am. Instead of that, what we use? Yes, I have. We use do, does, or did in short answers if there is no auxiliary verb. Doesn't she look good in the new dress? Yes, she does. Here, don't use an auxiliary verb here, so we use do, does, or did. Do they work hard? Yes, they do. Now write short answers to agree or disagree with someone. Okay, you have to write short answers only. If you're disagreeing or agreeing with someone, you have to write it in the blanks given below. Also, in page number 124, circle the answer that best fits the question. You have to circle the answer that is given in three options below each sentences. You have to choose the correct one that best fits best for the question. Okay. So, in page number 125, writing section, you have to write a story based on the rules given below. The story has a setting, means the place where the events of the story takes place. Yes, there will be a setting there in which the place or the events of the story takes place. Now, next one is the characters. The narrator, the boy and his parents, the paunchy man, the hotel manager, and the fisherman. Here, the story we have learned. In the last story we have learned, or the chapter which we have learned now, there's a setting. What is that? It's a beach. Now, who all are the characters? The narrator, boy, his parents, the paunchy man, the hotel manager, the fisherman, and a plot series of events that take place in the story. Okay, then dialogues to make the reading interesting. A problem, the destruction of a harmless sea turtle. That problem is solved when the boy and his parents manage to convince the fisherman to let the turtle go. Now, description of scenes and characters and their feelings. Okay, those are the things that the story has. Now write a story based on the outline given below. Give the story a title and write your own ending. Remember to begin the story in an interesting way to make your readers curious to read further. Okay, now you have to write another story with the outline. There's an outline given below, and you have to make a story from this. There should be a setting, characters, plot, dialogues, and problem, and a description there. Okay, you can begin the story like this. Once in the coastal village of, give the village a name. Okay, you have to give a village a name. Lived a fisherman with his family. Manu usually helped out Ramu, his father, every morning with the nets. Now you can understand who all are the characters. Now you have to make a story from this outline. The plot and problem gives the theme of the story. Okay, you have to make a story from this. Okay. Okay, now we have completed your course book. Okay.